So we conclude our discussion on the strands today with inquiry and research. And I want to read a piece from the introductions as we get to the final strand. And our introductions say this: each strand is of equal value. It may be presented in any order and should be integrated throughout the year. Additionally, students should engage in academic conversations. They should write, they should read, and be read to on a daily basis with opportunities for cross-curricular content and student choice. That's just from the introductions. And I take that from the introductions and we take a close look at inquiry and research last. But not to say that it is the last strand, because all strands are equal. And all strands carry the same weight. And all are inclusive of listening, speaking, reading, writing, and thinking. The student engages, let's start with the knowledge and skill statement, in both short-term and sustained recursive inquiry processes. Not research papers, not annotated bibliographies, there's not a list. They are involved in sustained recursive inquiry processes for a variety of purposes. So, I already know the answer to this question, but this is a collegial discussion. Why not a paper? Why not a project?
Because it's not just about a paper. They have to be able to communicate in lots of different ways. And relevancy is huge in my world at the moment. Kids aren't going to go, not many kids, like if we get to a research scientist that is their job. But most kids after college aren't going to write research papers. They're going to go and do the research they need to do to accomplish the task their boss has put in front of them. And so a research paper is really great if you're going to college and going to be a research scientist or an English teacher. But other than that, they need to be able to do short-term research with an end in mind. And whatever that end is determines the research that they're going to do.
I think especially with younger students, they are naturally curious beings. They wonder things that we never thought to wonder. And they ask questions we have never thought to ask. And we don't honor that as much as we should with the current TEKS we've got. The current TEKS we have, most districts I have experienced have a set up research unit. This allows students, and it honors those questions and it honors that wondering and that curiosity, and it's their choice. Like, what do they want to know more about? And so much of it, especially with the primary grades, is with adult assistants. We're teaching them how to ask good questions. Not questions that I give you, but questions you truly want to get the answer to. Because how often do I want to go answer somebody else's questions? They want to ask and answer the ones their own. And what happens when you get to a question you can't answer?
Back to the introductory statement and these strands not having a particular sequence. I was thinking about, and I was really imagining a classroom where we are taking in our text and we are using an inquiry process. We are using critical inquiry to talk about the author's choices. And in doing so, we are questioning and we're building curiosity in the students. And these students then become more curious about the topic, about something they just read, and how beautiful it would be for the teacher to further support that curiosity and help them to find additional resources. And then they begin to ponder more questions and dig deeper, and now they're reading for their own purpose. Now they're establishing a motivation to get into wider texts and research that. And we don't wait till the end of the year to create a research paper on something arbitrary. But instead, the child has carved their own path based upon what they've read to go research and then produce something in whatever format they choose to, knowing their purpose and the audience that they would be writing for.
Is that we're at the point now, it's not about the vehicle, it's about the thought. So really the thinking part of this strand is the most critical to me. You know, I think about kids having an original question that they want to know an answer to. As you know, I'm sure you've all done an author research paper or an animal research paper. This is an original, the sky's the limit here with kids and what they want to know more about. And as a teacher, that is freeing, because you want to know, you're invested, and you're going to go out and find the answer, because that's what's the most important.
I think the research piece for me, being in elementary, is very intimidating, because I remember college papers and those late nights and trying to find the synonym because it just didn't sound good enough. But what I've realized, and how you say how and why, I mean, how do we do that, is modeling. I think, we're reading a story in class and a student asks me, did that really happen? Or whatever happened to him? Stop, let's go find out. How can we find out? Where can I look? And, do that, pull that up on your whiteboard and research it and find a quick answer. And it doesn't take a product, a paper, a presentation. It's just, let's find out and move on. I think that's extremely powerful. And I mean, like you said, your husband does, I do the same thing, or you recognize somebody, where do I know them from? We all have a phone. Let's utilize our resources. But modeling, I think, is probably the most important piece, and knowing that it's so easy. Let's just go look, or let's find. I have a book on the shelf about that. Pull it out and go find out. Or don't ask me why, because I'm going to answer with a question. I don't know. You tell me. What are you wondering? That's great. I want you to go and find an answer for it.
This is what it looks like informally. Then we transfer into the formal, right? And we give them opportunity. But even before that, it says with adult assistance, right? But what we gotta be very careful is at the beginning, I have a 5-year-old myself, right? He is by nature, like you guys were saying, he wonders, he questions, and we have had, sadly, we had cases where people say, he asked too many questions. And so that also happens in the classroom. It becomes where the teacher is the one questioning all the time. And it's difficult for the kids, and then we blame it on the students, and we say, they don't even know how to question. Well, we stopped them in here, right? We stopped them when we were supposed to, it was a natural thing that they had.
And then you also want to tell the student, all this research that the author did to create this awesome book did not come just out of the blue. He or she had to go do his or her research and cite this information, because those thoughts were not created out of the blue in his mind. That's like stealing someone's mind or thoughts from within, and you don't want someone to steal your thoughts, because that's taking an identity from you, that's taking something from you. So you want to teach them that when they go there, they have to cite, and from there, they include that information of who they cited from, who they learned this information from, and then they create their own thought.
As nice as the research strand sounds, though, I think people need to keep in mind that it will be so much nicer that kids are investigating, looking into, questioning things that they really want to do, but this is going to take a lot of work on parts of the teacher. You have to get to know your kids. You have to start front-loading things. You can't just come in and say, okay, just research what you want to research today. It sounds really nice, but I mean, it is going to be a lot of preparation, and I think we need to be prepared for that.
Jonathan brings up a point that I think needs to be made about all 7 strands. There is student choice in reading. Not all the time, not with every assignment. There is student choice of genre. Not every time, not every assignment. But how do you equip teachers to create student choice in their rooms? Because you can't just turn around and say to teachers, kids get to choose their own books and let them do it. There should be teacher education on how that works. And there has to be a process in place to make that successful. But again, these standards are going to take teacher education, and PD to Teach is the first step in that. You get to show these conversations and you get to have them with your teachers, but the next step is teacher education in how you implement these.